Hey guys, Colton here. We'll get back to the podcast in just 1 minute. I just wanted to let you know that my new book, 24 Rules of Masculinity, is officially out. If you've been resonating with the topics we've hit on in this podcast, discipline, purpose, identity, what it means to be a man today, this book was built for you. It's a straight talking guide packed with hard lessons, biblical principles, and the kind of clarity that I think a lot of us are starving for. So whether you're just starting on your journey or looking to get back on track, I wrote this to be something that you can pick up, apply, and carry with you. You can find the 24 Rules of Masculinity on Amazon and through the link in the description. I would love to hear what you guys think. Now, back to the episode. Welcome back to Chasing Masculinity, where we're building men of strength, responsibility, and purpose, one principle at a time. Today's episode is part of our new Masculine Essential series, and we're starting with something foundational, how a man enters a room. Let me ask you, when did walking into a room become about this grandiose performance? When did men start thinking that they had to impress everyone superficially the moment they stepped in? Now, this episode is not going to be about arrogance. It's not about being the loudest or trying to dominate a space or being the alpha male. It's just about presence, the kind that doesn't demand any attention, but it commands respect. Because real men don't enter to be seen, they enter to lead, to observe, to present something deeper. And we're grounding this conversation in wisdom from Proverbs 17:27 through 28. The one who has knowledge uses words with restraint, and whoever has understanding is even-tempered. Even fools are thought wise if they keep silent, and discerning if they hold their tongues. So today, we're going to break down the physical, mental, and spiritual posture of a man who knows who he is before he says a word. Let's talk about how to walk into a room like a man. So my first point for how to walk into a room like a man is presence before performance. So the main idea behind that is masculine presence doesn't come from volume or showmanship. It comes from an internal alignment and the quiet strength of self-assurance. That has to relate directly to that confidence that you should have as a man based on what you're building behind the scenes. So presence is settled confidence. It's not this performative energy. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to be flashy. You don't need to be constantly talking. Think of the strongest man that you've ever seen, or think of a time that you were in a room and there was someone who just commanded presence. They weren't the ones that were needing the attention. Maybe the attention was on them. Maybe they were a keynote speaker, so they were doing the speaking, but they didn't need to be the center of everyone's attention. They naturally gravitated the attention and respect of those around them. They observed first, and then they spoke last. Imagine a classy house party. Just think of the person who is going to command the most respect. Who is the one that you would look at and think, he has wisdom? It's not going to be the person that forces themselves in the center and is talking the absolute loudest above everyone else and making sure he has the biggest circle around them and has key talking points prepared so that he can always have the funniest joke and be ready and everyone loves him and he has all the best friends. No, it's the guy who is reserved, who is able to take in all the information around him, the one who's going to naturally gain the respect of others based on his posture, based on how he presents himself physically. So back to entering the room. You walk in to see. That's the first step. When you walk into a room, you observe. So you walk in to see, not to be seen. That leadership that's key to masculinity begins with situational awareness. So a masculine man reads the room before he even offers a word. That ties back into Proverbs 17, 27 to 28. Uses words with restraint. Even fools are thought wise if they keep silent. And this goes back to Rule 24 in the 24 Rules of Masculinity. Do not seek intelligence, seek wisdom. And the second part of that rule is that the wise man is often not the first to speak. He's going to be the one who listens and discerns and leads. That is directly from that Proverbs 17 verse. So the strongest man in the room might even be the quietest, because strength doesn't need permission to exist. It doesn't need validation. It just is. So this masculine presence is felt, not forced. Think of Jesus before Pilate. He was silent, composed. He was in full command. Or Jocko, when he's in a leadership role, if you've seen him, he's calm, but he has this intensity about him. He's never trying to prove himself. He knows who he is. And then contrast that to a loud man who lacks authority. A quiet man with direction can actually shake a room. So the second part of how to walk into a room with confidence is the physical posture of a masculine man. So how do you actually hold yourself up? The main idea behind this is your body speaks before your voice ever does. That's going to be the first thing people notice about you. Masculine posture communicates confidence and calmness and a purpose. So to start, stand still. Your feet are grounded, your shoulders are back, your chest is open, but it's not puffed up in any way. This isn't aggression, it's stability and openness. I used to have really bad posture from sitting poorly behind a desk, and then also from bad lifting form back when I played sports. And the thing that really helped me before my posture kind of naturally fell into its current shape, which is relaxed but not poor, is I would lift my shoulders up almost to engage my traps and then go back and then drop them back down as low as I can get them so the traps are fully exposed. What this does is it might push your chest out a little bit, but it kind of teaches you this is where my shoulders are down and back. I'm not feeling hunched over. I'm opening myself up. It opens the chest up rather than trying to close it off in more of a concave shape. And that helped train me how to actually just stand and walk with natural posture, because then from that, the way that my body naturally sits was able to reform itself into what was comfortable, what was actually natural, not this hunched over posture. I was forcing myself into a more natural posture before that routine and that consistency took over again. The next is going to be to practice that stillness. So when you're constantly fidgeting, when you're constantly biting your nails or shaking your leg, these are all things that I still often struggle with, either because of boredom or because of nervousness or because my mind is somewhere else. That's usually why, is my mind is somewhere else. I'm thinking about other things, and that's not presence. And because of that, I am now lacking stillness. So you have to have slow, controlled motion. A controlled motion equals a controlled mind. It means everything that you're doing, if someone were to observe you, they would think, he just did that intentionally. He thought about the exact thing he was about to do, even if it's something as simple as picking up and drinking a cup of coffee. He thought about that. He did that. There was no innate back of mind behavior. Everything was clearly intentional. That stillness, too, when you're sitting there and you feel comfortable, you don't have to feel the need to be on your phone or to be flipping through something or playing with a fidget spinner or whatever. That stillness is going to command attention without asking for it. It's showing that you are comfortable being present in that moment. And then going back to moving more deliberately. So don't rush. Every time you take a step, every time you do something, it has to have intention. It's almost like you plotted out the exact course in advance. Masculinity is not frantic. It's not looking like a chicken with your head cut off, even though maybe internally you might feel like that. It is about intention and slowness. It's not about being frantic. It's about being composed. And then use your eyes well. So eye contact should be confident, but not invasive. Don't just stare somebody down nonstop. That's weird. You know when somebody does that and they keep eye contact for too long and they're not looking around and they've just never wavered in their eye contact with you, it's a little bit too much. It's a little bit too invasive. That's not masculinity because that's not confidence. It's throwing you off a little bit, which maybe someone's doing that as an intentional mind game. But if someone does that, you're not thinking, wow, this man is confidently masculine. You're thinking, what is this guy doing? So yeah, absolutely have eye contact, but that doesn't mean unbreaking eye contact. You can look around. You can break eye contact. You can look at the group. You can look up if you're thinking, but don't never look into somebody's eyes too. There's going to be a balance. And then using those nods or brief acknowledgement to show the respect, show that you're listening without necessarily posturing. Not every single point somebody has needs to be directly related to. Sometimes you can just nod. That's actually something that's been really beneficial going through this podcasting journey is you don't have to verbally reciprocate every answer. You can just physically, with a little nod and a little eye contact, show somebody that you're listening and allow them to keep the floor, but respect you for showing that you are intently listening to them. The last part of this is your voice and your breath. So speak from the chest, not from the throat. Take your time to speak. Your pacing is going to show that you're not afraid of silence. If you just start speaking and you don't know where you're going and you have to stop and think, people are going to see that. But if you are formulating a thought well and you take a moment to breathe or pause or to formulate the next thought relating it to whatever the conversation was about, and you can hold that floor, people are going to see that as confidence, see that as wisdom, and it shows that you have commanded the respect of others. Some examples about the physical posturing of walking into a room. Film yourself walking into a room so you can actually observe your body language. How do you enter a room when you are in your most autopilot self? What does that look like? And the next thing that you can do is to try 10 seconds of silence before you actually speak in a group setting. So that just means you have to force yourself to not be the first one to speak. You have to just at least sit for a little bit and take it in. Even if everyone says hi to you, 10 seconds is a long time, but that will allow you to take in a lot more. And in social settings, aim to watch for 2 minutes before saying a word. When you walk into some sort of social group, don't go walk up to somebody and immediately start being the center of attention. Take it in, walk around, observe first. Then you can start getting into it. Then you can start socializing in a way more verbal. So my third idea for this topic is the mental framing. Why are you there? So masculinity requires a mission. The way you enter a space is shaped by your internal purpose for being there. So don't enter a room on autopilot. Enter it with intention. Before you walk in, before you go into any sort of setting, before you go through that door threshold, ask yourself, why am I here? And then know the outcome you want. What is it? Is it respect, impact? Is it clarity? Why are you going to that room? And what is the outcome of going in said room? So don't enter there to impress. If you're saying, I'm here because I want everyone to see how great I am, and that's the outcome I want, that's very self-aggrandizing and probably not down the best path of masculinity. You need to enter to represent masculinity, as in how you represent masculinity. You're walking in to represent yourself, not to impress. You're walking in as a showboard of who you are. So don't hide that, but certainly don't go in there with the intention of having everyone love you. You are not there to prove your worth. You are embodying it. Men grounded in identity aren't going to chase applause. They're going to carry responsibility.
And this masculinity is directional. So a man without direction is vulnerable to flattery or to groupthink or to any sort of insecurity. But a man with that clarity, a man with that direction, he knows who he is, he knows why he's there, and he knows why he is, in a grander sense, on this earth, what his mission is, what his goals are, his ambitions. A man with that clarity, he can't be moved by these cheap opinions or by social pressure. So what does it mean to represent yourself? If you represent yourself, you're representing your values, your family, your faith, whatever that is that you hold as a core pillar to your life. And then let your presence align with your mission. People should be able to tell who you are and what you're doing based on how you present yourself. If you don't know who you are, the world will tell you who to be. So to frame this spiritually, you are a representative of something higher. You are made in God's image. Masculine confidence flows from being under something. That's being under God, being under purpose, under principle. So aligning yourself properly, placing yourself under that, not on top, will allow that masculine confidence to flow. All right, the next idea number 4 for how to walk into a room is spiritual posture. So that is posture rooted in your identity. So the masculine presence isn't manufactured. It's rooted in spiritual identity. You don't walk into a room to prove something. You walk in already sent by something greater. So what does that mean? You are a son of God, not a slave to some sort of cultural performance. You are not representing what masculinity is in the here and now, or what you want it to be based on what the news is saying it is or isn't, or what some influencer online told you to think about it. Your worth is not dictated by that room. It's already been declared by your Creator. Masculine presence flows from a knowing, not a sense of needing. John 1:12 says, "Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God." And 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline." So that power, that's that confidence and steadiness. That love, that's that compassion and leadership. And that self-discipline, that's that control and that silence and that presence. Let that identity inform you how to enter a space, especially when it's an uncomfortable setting, like a job interview or your first time at a church or men's group, or just intense family conversations. This spiritual posture shapes physical posture. You have to know who you are under God. A man rooted in faith is unshaken by attention or rejection. He doesn't chase affirmation. He walks in with quiet conviction. Think of Jesus in the synagogue. He reads from Isaiah. He sat down. No bravado, just presence. You can enter a boardroom or family gathering with the same calm. Not because you're perfect, but because you're anchored. You already have a greater sense of purpose in life, so whatever happens in that room doesn't matter. It shouldn't change you. All right, my last main point here, point number 5, is situal awareness and restraint. So that means real masculine strength begins with restraint and observation, not assertion. It's the ability to read a room before trying to lead it. That includes being slow to speak and quick to listen. James 1:19, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. This isn't passivity. It is a strategic discipline because you're doing it intentionally. Masculinity is not reactionary, it's observant. You can't lead a room if you haven't studied it. You need to watch the tone, the dynamics, and respect that hierarchy that's been established in the room. Take in more than you give at first. Your first impression should not be your loudest moment. Use questions instead of statements. Learn people's values and roles. You are taking in information, and that can be obvious. It should be obviously observed that you are just taking in as much information as you can, and you are withholding whatever you're putting out at the moment. And you're using very strategic speech. You're making every word count. So you're speaking less, but when you do, it's something that's very clear and calm and necessary. Again, that goes back to our grounding verse, Proverbs 17:27. The one who has knowledge uses words with restraint. Don't speak to prove your intelligence, speak to offer value. That restraint, that's going to build respect. Men lose credibility by talking too much or too soon because they don't fully understand what's happening. They don't grasp it. They're speaking out of turn. This has happened to me many, many times, and it still does. I will speak too quickly in the middle of a conversation between people who are higher on the corporate hierarchy than me to clarify something or to suggest something, only to realize they're talking at a different level than me. And I don't understand where they're at yet because I spoke too soon. So that silent confidence, that's going to speak louder than any sort of self-promotion by saying anything that's going to make you sound smart. Instead, sitting there and clearly taking things in, that's going to gain you more respect than saying the wrong thing. At your next group event, commit to asking 3 genuine questions before making one statement. And study how respected men move. Watch their timing and their tone. So how can we apply all of these things? How do we practice masculine presence? Presence isn't just a theory, it's a habit. You can train yourself to carry masculine energy into a room every time without trying to perform. Some talking points and exercises that you can do. 1, challenge yourself to walk into a room this week intentionally. So that means you're choosing a specific setting. Could just be the gym. Pause at the entrance, breathe, stand tall. Be ready to observe and take it in. Say nothing for the first 30 seconds. Just be present. The next is to practice in silence. So when you arrive, don't look at your phone. Don't allow yourself to succumb to whatever distractions are around you. Keep your hands still. Stay off center, but not in the shadows. Presence is energy before words. So practice that. Practice that observation in silence. Then train yourself to be still in the storm. So masculine presence shines most in high pressure moments. That's where people are going to see what you're made of. So try things like cold exposure and silent walks or waiting in line without reaching for your phone. These small little weird acts of discipline are training your composure. They're training you for when the moments do get awkward or when the moments do get difficult, you are ready. Next, I want you to think or maybe even write down some answers to these questions. How do I want to be experienced by others before I even open my mouth? So write down 3 traits. Are you calm? Are you certain? Are you compassionate? Write down 3 things that others are going to experience from you before you even say anything. And then, are you living those out in your entry before your speech? How do you want to be observed? Are those traits being observed? Then you can ask one of your brothers or a close friend to help you. How do I carry myself? What is my presence before I speak? Be prepared to receive their honest feedback with humility, and you can use that to adjust or as a litmus test to see where you're at. Every man is going to send a message when he walks into a room. The question is, what message are you sending? It's not about being the loudest voice or taking up the most space. It's about entering with clarity, conviction, and calm. Your presence should speak before your words ever do. A masculine presence is a quiet strength. It's restraint, it's purpose, and above all, it's anchored in something higher than you. So that's your challenge. Pick a setting, walk into a room that you walk into often. But this time, walk in with that full awareness. Don't rush, don't perform, just carry the man you're becoming into that space. Your shoulders are back, your eyes are up. You're grounded in who you are and whose you are. Remember, keep chasing masculinity because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more men who are able to walk with this sort of presence, who are able to walk into a room and command presence just by being a man. They're leading with that quiet strength and they live like they were sent. So thank you for tuning in to Chasing Masculinity, guys. Until next time, keep chasing.